Do you play Flesh and Blood? And if you are playing Flesh and Blood, what is your favorite format in Flesh and Blood? For me, it is definitely the limited formats, Draft and Sealed. And lately, I've been really enjoying the new Rosetta format, and I'm just loving Verdance. Man, she is so amazing to play, and I just played an Armory with her and got this Rootborn Carapace, and I went 0-3. Oh my god, it was really bad for me. I made a few mistakes in the draft, but I could learn a lot and I had so much fun, and I recorded actually all of the games that I've played, and I want to upload them to the Fabled Academy. If you're new to this channel, my name is Alex, I'm based from Germany. I love Flesh and Blood, TCGs in general, and I'm so excited to bring you these new videos because, like I said, limited and draft at the moment are my favorite formats in Flesh and Blood, and even when I stopped making videos a few months ago, I was still enjoying playing the limited formats in Flesh and Blood, and so I'm really happy to bring you now videos about draft and maybe even limited in the future. And now we still have Rosetta. We will get a new set in January, so I want to make limited content for that new set in January too. I potentially even want to go to Prague for the pre-release event there, and it's just so an amazing time for me. I'm really so excited, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it in this video, because I want to know from you, what do you want to learn, what do you want to watch when you are looking for draft content or limited content in Flesh and Blood. Because I have to say, I not only played Verdance once, I played 2 drafts actually, and I have the second draft deck. This one on the right is the one I drafted this week in Armory, and I went 0-3 there. At least, I get this beautiful promo, and I have to say, this Rootborn Carapace is not only a really amazing card to play, but these promos, they really outdid themselves this season. I love these promos. These are the best promos, I think, when looking at them, with the new extended art that goes all the way down, and then they are shrinking the text. So more of the picture can be revealed, and the foiling on this card especially is just super amazing. So thank you so much, LSS, for doing this great job here on these promos. And what I love about draft too is and limited, you can pull some amazing cards too. Not only the ones that you can play, these are amazing, of course, those are the most important cards, but you also sometimes get a few very nice shiny cards, and I was lucky to get this Twinkle Toes in cold foil on Monday at our local Armory here. Just look at this beauty, it's amazing. Just admiring this beauty for a second here. Guys, let me know what your favorite card from Rosetta is in the comments. But now let's come to my second deck, and this was actually the first draft. So I played 2 drafts in total, but this was my first draft, just right when Rosetta was released. So I played 2 pre-releases. Those were sealed, so we played with 8 packs and then built a deck. Those were pretty okay. I got 1 at my first sealed event, and then I'm not sure how the second one went again. I think I was 1-2 there, but more importantly, this first draft that I did, I actually won the Armory. I got 3-0 there with this Verdance deck, and it was the first event that I actually won ever in any TCG, so I was super happy about it. But more importantly, when drafting the second time, I really wanted to play Verdance again, so I wanted to build up on these my first success, so to say, with playing Verdance, and just briefly going over the equipment that I drafted here in the first draft. And I think this was pretty amazing for me. And I also drafted a pretty good equipment suite, I think, here in the second draft too. But then I made a few mistakes in my deck building. I made a few bad decisions when picking cards, and so I played I gave some good cards away and took some bad ones. I even made a really nasty beginner mistake, and like I said, I recorded everything for the second draft. Not for the first draft, but for the second one. And so I will upload them, I will comment on them. We will talk about these failures that I had in the second draft and what you can learn from it, what I can get away from it for my third draft that I will play tomorrow, actually, after recording this video. I think this video will go out, I'm not sure, on that day when I play that draft or the day afterwards, maybe 2 days afterwards, I'm not really sure, but like maybe you can feel it. I'm super excited to talk about this limited videos that I want to do. And let's come back to the first draft. So I think I made a few very good decisions here. Also, maybe it was also because the players next to me passed me some really good cards, and so I could make some very, very good decisions. But I want to also compare these two decks and talk about the differences in the deck building process while drafting. Because, for example, here I can tell you one thing here that is a difference. I drafted Fruits of the Forest here in my first draft, and this is such a versatile and great card to play in Rosetta, I think, because you get the value of pitching for 3 and playing it for 7, so it has a great break point, and when you have a blue it's pretty easy to play. But then the instant effect is something that is so amazing here, and I love that they put this great artwork on the card. I think this is just one of my favorite artworks from Rosetta, actually, looking at it closely now, with our Tales of Aria heroes here in the back, going through Aria, and then the Meeps in the foreground, stealing an apple on orange, a fruit. So this was a key card, I think, in this build here. But I didn't realize it only until I never picked it in my second draft, and I gave them all away. And another player in the draft, a very skilled player, shout out to Jakob, he's running the store where we are having our locals, and he picked all those fruits for the forest, and they came in really clutch. And I played my first game actually against Jakob, and he just brutally murdered me with his Florian deck and all those fruits of the forest. And so that is something that I want to give away in this video for you. But like I said, I will do much more videos about this topic, so definitely subscribe if you want to see those, and if you're interested in watching draft and limited content, and especially for Rosetta. So I have never thought, actually, as Rosetta came out, I was really not really looking at Verdance, let's say it like that. I was looking at the Lightning Hero, the new Runeblade, Aurora, and I played her both times in my pre-release events. And then, my first one, I had a really good Aurora deck, and that's why I got 2-1. I only lost to Florian very, very closely. And so I saw, okay, Earth just has an edge, as it seems here. Because then also I was looking at the Earth cards more closely. I'm not really a guy that looks like at every card before going to a tournament, especially these pre-releases. I want to enjoy the new cards when first opening the packs. I think that is something super exciting and super nice in Flesh and Blood. But I think for the last spoiler season, they also didn't give away that much information like they did for the past sets, Part the Mistveil and so on, heavy hitters. So it was super interesting for me to open up these packs, see if there is a Majestic in there that I don't know yet, and maybe you can build around that or take advantage of the power that you are opening. And so I was looking at these Earth cards, and then I was seeing the Decompose, and also I was seeing, Rosetta is a set that evolves around arcane damage, right? So I really wanted to test that out, and I had a few good cards for Verdance right in the beginning, and I think that is something that I love. Opening up your first pack, first pick, that is something pretty interesting. And it gives you an insight on maybe where you want to go, but that's definitely not everything that is important in the draft process. And I also thought, you know what, there is not that much limited and draft content out there as there is constructed videos out there. And you know what, this is my perfect example here now with Rosetta, maybe to do some videos. And yeah, if I were a viewer, I would love to see that, because I always try to watch some of the limited content, some of the draft content that is out there. I can't consume it all, but I usually see that, yeah, there is much more classic constructed videos out there. But you know what? I think for me, not only as a casual player, draft is much more interesting than CC. At least that's what I think. Let me know what your thoughts are about it. But also, if you're a pro player, draft is pretty important, right? If you're playing the Pro Tour, if you're playing Nationals, if you're playing Worlds even, you have to be a really good drafter to get to the top. And so I think there are two sides to this limited content that I want to do. There's also maybe a conversation that I want to have with a pro player and talk about it in more depth. But also just from my casual view, bring you guys these videos and show you what I learned. And maybe you can learn something from that too. Or maybe you are leaving a comment on the video and I can learn something from you. So yeah, it is giving and getting, right? So just quickly jumping into my first Verdance deck again that I drafted here. I really think, yeah, Verdance staff is so amazing. Honestly, I thought in the beginning I didn't really use it that often when building this deck. And then in the second game, I realized how powerful Amp is. And then also how powerful it can be if you get that embodiment of Earth off of the Earth pitch. So Fruits of the Forest, for example, here, coming back to the versatility of this card. It can not only be played in Verdance, it can also be played in Florian. So it can be a card that you can use actually to counter Verdance. That is something so interesting. You can not only play it with Verdance, this card can be especially good against Verdance if she is putting out a lot of arcane damage. And so the versatility in this card is also because it is an Earth card. And if you have a blue, this one is red. Let's quickly dig through the deck and see if we find another Fruits of the Forest. I don't have all the cards. There it is. I have a blue one. I thought so. So if you have the blue one in hand for the late game, you can discard it and gain 2 life to pop off on the Verdance ability and the hero ability. But you can also activate the staff in the beginning of it. So I just love Fruits of the Forest, and I'm just realizing this because I totally forgot to draft it in my second draft. Guys, as soon as I realized this, I was so bummed. I was like, how can you make this mistake? And then I made even more mistakes. But you know what? I learned the importance in drafting my first Verdance deck because in my sealed pre-releases, the Florian that I went against in my first pre-release, he had full equipment suit with well-grounded and the helm, and he was getting so much additional value of it. I was like, Aurora really can't deal with that. That's so much that you need to go through, at least the build that I had. So I was like, in the next draft, I want to get these 2 equipments. And in my first draft, it went perfectly. I got the helm early. I was like, I need to get this helm. Because that is something I learned in Heavy Hitters, that equipment can be so important when you get 2 value of the equipment. And I have to say, well-grounded is even more great than the helm in Rosetta, because you can also prevent arcane damage with it, and it floats on the board for maybe a second rune chant. But I leaned too heavily towards the equipment in my second draft, and there was especially a pack that I had to choose well-grounded or a red, what is it called again, the Decompose card. Let me view it. I'm not sure if it was Blossoming Decay. No, I think it was the other one. Like I said, definitely subscribe if you want to get to know more about these topics. But yeah, I just got to know this in my second draft, that not only the equipment, of course, is important when picking, but also evaluating whether it is more important to pick the equipment now or getting a better card to suit in the deck. Because I have to say this even before now uploading the gameplay videos that I have with this deck, that I ran into an issue with having the equipment. And that was, I didn't have enough power in my deck actually, so I was on the back foot when going into the mid game. And then I, of course, had the equipment to block some value or to prevent some value, but then I had nothing to come back off of it. So I used the equipment, it was gone, and then I had nothing left in my deck to come back with it. Maybe this 0 for 3 arcane damage. But that is also a topic I want to talk about, especially for Verdance in my upcoming videos. That, of course, these 0 for 3s are great, even if you can go off with the surge effects. But if you can only pop off 1 0 for 3 every turn, then that's not really that amazing. And you will most likely not win every game with that. So, guys, one card for the last I want to talk about is, this card, Exploding Aether, which I drafted in my first draft and I used it in my last game. And then I realized how powerful it can be, but it can be also annoying if you don't have the right combination, you don't draw the right combination. But let me know what you think about Exploding Aether if you've played Rosetta draft before. I'm really not sure yet on this card. I think it can be especially interesting if you have these 0 for 3. Let me pick one here, the Etchings of Arcana. If you have a 0 for 3 and you can load it off with the Exploding Aether beforehand, and maybe even get an amp off of the staff, pitch to it with an Earth card and get an embodiment. But that would be a perfect world, right? And that's not all the case. So not really too sure yet. But I played against an Acilio. We will see this gameplay with this deck in more detail in the future on the channel. And he just crushed me with so much amp that I couldn't really handle it. But I'm not too sure about this card in Verdance actually. So let's round this video up now. I want to, definitely keep going with these videos. So again, thank you so much for joining in today's video. And then if you liked it, also make sure to like the video. That would definitely help the video being discovered by more players. And it also makes me smile when seeing it. So I hope you're having a nice day and we see us in the next video.